Welcome back. This is part 2 of the mobile shower trailer build. In this previous video, I drilled 4 pilot holes and the opening for the roof exhaust vent. This is so once I'm up on the roof, I can mark out where the opening needs to be cut. This is before I cover the ceiling with FRP. So in this video, I'm going to install the fan and a few other things. This is the 600 watt 110 volt to DC converter that I'm going to be using for all the 12 volt power on board, which is mainly just a fan and a few lights. going to work on the wall that's going to hold the hand wash sink, and there's a mirror above the hand wash sink. Right now I'm installing the bracket that is going to hold the drop ear PEX fittings for the hot and cold water. Above that is the 2x2 stud. It's going to hold the bracket for the hand wash sink, and above that is going to be some more bracing for it's a eye mount that holds the mirror. It's a heavy mirror. It's about 30 pounds. It's a commercial mirror. So I'm going to install the PEX in this wall, the drop ear, the brackets, then go ahead and cover this wall with 1/4 inch plywood and a sheet of FRP. I need a hot and cold cutoff valve on the outside of the wall, just in case there has to be maintenance on the sink. I was going to have all the cutoffs in the back storage utility room area back here, but I think I still need to put the hot and cold cutoff underneath the sink. So that's why I put the drop ear fitting so low. So basically on the outside of the wall, I have your standard household sink hoses that'll screw onto a metal adapter outside the wall, then come up to the inlet of the sink, but it'll all be behind the sink. You won't see it. Now I'm going to glue up the first piece of FRP that's going to go on the wall. This is just liquid nails, heavy duty, and it seems to do the trick. It keeps the FRP up without any slack. It doesn't fall. It doesn't attempt to fall. It holds pretty well until it actually dries. I didn't glue the ceiling. I screwed in the ceiling. So I didn't put a sheet of plywood on the ceiling first, but all the walls are going to be covered in 1/4 inch plywall, then an FRP sheet on top of that. This is the bracket I mentioned earlier for the mirror. It's a commercial mirror. It's heavy. It's around, I'd say 30 pounds. It broke halfway into the project. It was leaning up against a box, fell face down, and I ordered a replacement from Amazon. But I'm going to install this bracket, and then right below it is the bracket for the hand wash sink, which just slides on top onto the bracket and where it wedges down in place. I'm gonna go ahead and strap down this water tank into the front of the trailer. I installed a 1/2" bulkhead fitting on the bottom. That's going to be used for the water outlet. And I'm going to keep the original fittings that come on the top of the tank for the water fill, which is an 1.25" opening. And all these blue openings are 3/8. I'm going to go ahead and use this, and I'll cut this shark bite fitting off. Use this 3/8" PEX for the air intake. I'm going to end up plastic welding this whole shut. I had to put a hole in here so I can put the bulkhead fitting down at the bottom. But I have the piece that I drilled out. I'll put that in with some the ABS plastic weld or some marine epoxy and close that up later on. But that was the best bet. Other than my original plan was to use this tank upside down. Have this as the water outlets. This is a drain. Have those plugged up. But this water tank is meant to be used horizontally on its sides. So I want to use it vertically. I kind of had to get creative with it, but this will work with the new bulkhead fitting that I put at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and get it back here. I put 2 anchors on the floor on each side, and I'm going to go ahead and put this tank in and use a ratchet strap to secure it to the front of the trailer. Tank strapped in. It's strapped in vertically. Once it's full, I mean, it really shouldn't move around much, but I'm going to, it's strapped in vertically, but I'm going to also strap it in from the sides, onto the wall somehow, or either I'll brace it with some 2x2s against the wall and against the stud wall here. So I still need to beef this wall up a little bit. Got the 1/2" bulkhead fitting down there. I'll get the right fittings, and that's going to go over to this water supply line, this bottom one here, this bottom PEX. And that'll wrap up that tank installation as far as the water supply to the plumbing. But right now I'm going to go ahead and cut a hole in the wall here so I can fit the housing that holds the water inlet, hook up the 1.25" tube for the water fill, and this 3/8" tube for the air. This is the water supply panel that's going to go on the outside of the wall. This is going to be the water inlet. That is the air vent. That's going to go through this 3/8" PEX line there. So I have to find the right spot outside to mount this, because it has to be above the water fill. I can't mount it down here and try to have the whole line come up, so I have to put it this high. So outside the trailer is going to be pretty high up off the ground, but I mean, it is what it is. So let's drill a pilot hole, and I'm going to put it right here. There's no stud right here in this position, so I'm going to put a hole in the outside of the trailer. Here it goes. See where that's at. Yeah, that's pretty high up there. Let's see. That is pretty high for the water inlet, but it's going to be right about there. It is what it is. That's where it's going to have to go. And I'm going to have to measure that off and cut a spot for it. here's the outside of the trailer. This is the wheel well. Right in this area right here. Right in this area. Right about here. I'm going to put a hand wash sink. So this is going to be a hand wash sink that's recessed into the trailer. The idea is that people can walk up to the trailer, wash their hands outside without having to go into the actual trailer, into the shower. So if someone's using a shower, they can still access this hand wash sink. This is the sink here. It's 17 inches wide, but the bowl itself is around 14 and a half, I believe, 14 and a quarter. So the issue is that the beams on this wall, on this trailer, which I don't want to cut through the structural support, are 14 inches wide. So that's the center. That's from edge to edge. So in between the beams, I have 14 inches of space. So if I install the sink and recess it, you know, people can still walk up to the sink. So I had to re-record the audio for this portion. It was too low and it was distorted. My concern with the 14-inch width between the beams was that it would be too narrow for people to reach in and wash their hands, but it'll work. I mean, it's not so narrow that you can't reach in and wash your hands comfortably. So I'm going to go forward with, you know, cutting that opening and installing this external hand wash sink. Go ahead and plumb this hand wash sink, and also set up the drain and the plumbing for the exterior hand wash sink, which is going to sit to my right over here. I'm just going to dry fit everything. Learned my lesson. Exterior hand wash sink is going to sit right here. The drain's going to come down and around, curve down, and come into here. So it's going to flow down. And that's the main drain for the sinks. It's going to tie into the shower underneath the trailer, and the entire line is going to tie into the vent, the fresh air vent. So I'm going to plumb this down. I'm going to come around and stop right there. Once I build out the housing for the exterior sink, I'll go ahead and plumb that sink drain into this. But for now, I'm going to dry fit all this, get the drain down, glue it up, finish the vent pipe, go through the ceiling, and call that a wrap for the plumbing for this. And then try to run this PEX somehow around this plumbing. So the GoPro overheated, as it does. I went ahead and glued up all the drain pipe and the vent pipe, and went ahead and ran it through the roof. I was gonna wait to get it on film, but it's hot in here. The GoPro's overheating, and I had to let it cool down for a while. So let's go up on the roof and cut the pipe and check the fit of the cap. I don't have the proper roofing sealant, the RV seal. All right, so I went and purchased a coupler. I'm gonna go ahead and extend this pipe up so that I can get the pipe fitting into the opening. That way it can go up higher into the vent. So that way if rain is coming in sideways, it's not actually going into the air vent. The reason I had to install the coupler here in the extension, it was an oversight when I was installing the vent pipe. I thought I was going higher through the roof than I was, but this coupler fits into the cap fine, and I just need a small piece of PVC to extend up into the cap. So that worked out fine. It'll be the same process for the black tank vent. That's a wrap for that air vent. Now I'm going to start working on the base for the exterior hand wash sink. This base is just to raise the sink up to the proper height so that it's accessible from the outside of the trailer. Just going to build a 2x2 frame for the sink to sit in, raise it up off the floor. Later on I'll screw it down to the floor. Screw it onto the side wall so that it's tight up against the exterior wall. That's going to be a later video. I'm waiting on some aluminum U-channel to arrive. I think I ordered it from orangealuminum.com. I think it was. I used them before in the past. And it's coming from California, so it'll take a few days to get here. Once that comes in, I'll frame out the opening for the exterior sink. Then from that point, I can continue on with affixing this base to the wall. There's also going to be a stainless steel, I guess I'll call it a backsplash, but the back and the sides of the sink area is going to be covered with this stainless steel sheet. So I want to wait till I trim the window out before I start that as well. That'll be a later video. So that's to be continued, that exterior sink. Once the supplies that I ordered come in, I'll continue with that video. I'm going to plumb up the P-trap for this interior sink and wrap up some of the shower plumbing, the PEX, and then I'm going to drill a hole for the shower drain. And I believe for this video, that's going to be it for now. The next video, I'll continue on with the wall covering, the plywood and FRP.